Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, as per your respective time zone. Good evening. Um, we'll wait for a couple of more minutes and then we'll begin for the today's 21D Global Human Resource Advisory webinar session. We can see a few more attendees are also joining in, so we'll wait for them and we'll begin the session. Hello, everyone. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as per your respective time zone. On behalf of entire Evosys Managed Services team, we'd like to welcome you all to 21D Global Human Resource Advisory webinar session. This important session is to keep you fully synchronized with the new features and functionalities as a part of this quarterly release which Oracle provides. My name is Hardik Patel, and I'm an options manager here at Evosys Managed Services team. Today, I'm your host for this session, and I'm glad to introduce my colleague, Hitendra Kushwaha, who's part of our vast HCM team at Evosys. Today, he will take us through all the global HR updates for 21D quarterly release. Today's session is planned for around 60 minutes, and we'll make sure that we also leave some time to answer all your questions you may have. So let's begin to today's agenda. So we'd like to convey you our approach towards the Oracle updates in a very simpler method. We'll be taking you through vital analysis for the 21D updates done by our experts, which will help you incorporating new features and updates easily into your system. We'll also sync you on any bugs or known issues if there are any. It is good to have an interactive session, so please do ask all your questions through chat or question panel, and we'll answer them at the end of this session. In case if we run out of time, we'll also make sure to respond back to you by connecting you at a later stage. This is to give you a glimpse of how we have created the structure of this session. List of new features coming into 21D, detailing on features so you get brief understanding on what new features are all about. Next one is what are the business benefits and the important takeaway for you as a decision maker. There are 4 components where we have done in-depth analysis of feature which we're going to present to you today. The first one is impact level analysis, which demonstrate the impact level on the user. If it's a low impact, then regression testing can be avoided or not. If it's a high impact, then we need to opt for regression testing. Second one, which is we all are aware that there are some features which are by default auto-enabled by Oracle, and there's some which you need to opt for. The third one highlights the nature of each feature. There would be certain configurations which may be required, or some can be used without any changes. And last one, which is a quick win. This term we use to simply convey that what is ready to use by investing minimum amount of time and what requires significant amount of time and effort to make use of this feature. Before I hand it over to my colleague, we would love to know that which industry or your organization belongs to. This will help us creating more fruitful webinar content moving forward. So just with the very quick poll, which I'm going to launch on your screen, and would like your input there to let us know that which industry your organization is belonging to. Thank you very much, everybody, for letting this know. I'll now, I can see still some polls coming in. Thank you so much. Yep, we'll be closing the poll now. Thank you very much for your inputs there. Now I'll be handing over to my colleague Hitendra, and now he'll take you through into the deep dive session for this 21D Global HR. Over to you, Hitendra. Thank you.
Thank you, Hardik, for the brief intro. Hello, everyone. Good day to you all. So today we'll be covering the 21D Global Human Resource webinar, in which we'll take you through towards the new features which has been introduced in this upcoming release by Oracle. So to begin with, let's go ahead and check the analysis. So here we have around 55 global new features, global HR features, in which we have around 43 quick wins, and the rest are the ones which will help us. So we'll try to cover the quick wins first. Now these are the features. This is the flow where we'll go. First we'll go with quick wins, where This is default with no configurations. And then we'll move ahead with quick wins, default with configuration, and quick wins opt-ins. And if time remains, we will go ahead with rest and other features. So to begin with quick wins, default with no configuration. So the first slide is for journey. Just to give you a brief background, in recent updates, to be precise 21A, Oracle has introduced a new feature called Journey. This is an enhancement towards the checklist feature, which was already there. Now, this journey feature helps us, human capital management team or managers, to give a task list for their respective uh, owners or the task performers. This way, this will enhance the user experience for the Oracle. So to begin, the first feature which has been released is sort option in Explore and My Journeys tab. Initially, this when a journey has been introduced or has been added, the sort option was not available. Human capital team or managers will have to see the journeys with the seeded or the defaulted sort option. But now, in order to keep user acceptability, Oracle has introduced this sort option where they have provided three options by which we can go ahead and sort these journeys. The first one is last updated, journey name, and journey category. This way, any human capital management team or managers can sort the journeys as per their wish and they can take actions accordingly. This would enhance and this would make the journey feature easier and relevant to the user who is using. Moving forward, now they now human capital management or human capital team use they have a capability to create journeys. But initially, what used to happen, this create journey tab was available at multiple places. So as a result, what used to happen is that team or the people who are taking actions, they are getting confused, like which option to use and when it needs to be used. So in order to keep that in mind and keep centralized approach in mind, Oracle has just given this create new journey feature at the explore tab. So this will help the team or the managers to remember from which page they need to create a new journey. Moving forward, the new feature which has been provided uh, by Oracle is post complete and assigned journey. If you see that this will help users or human capital management team to forcefully complete a journey. I would just like to give you an example how it helps. What happens is like a journey has been created and there are multiple task owners who will be taking actions on XYZ tasks. So, but for some unforeseen reason, task owner is not available and he is not able to take action on a specific task, and because of which a journey is kept on pending or kept on hold. So now, keeping this situation in mind, Oracle has introduced uh, this feature post complete where human capital management team or managers or whoever is the task owner can use this option and forcefully complete the journey. The next feature is delete and assign journey. Just like the way Oracle has introduced force complete feature, there's a feature called delete. Say, for example, a human capital management team, a person is creating a journey just to check how it looks, and or maybe he is in process, but by mistakenly he has assigned it to employees. Initially, this if an journey has been assigned, there was no option to delete this earlier, but keeping in mind that these features or these incidents may have happened, Oracle has provided us a delete option. So now, if an journey has been assigned to a worker by mistake or it is too early for it to be assigned, this by using this delete option, a task owner or the journey owner can go ahead and delete that. Now, moving forward, the new feature is view enterprise onboarding steps, name on journey pages. Now, what used to happen earlier is that there are multiple, say for example, onboarding journey is there, wherein a new employee has been hired. And if you can see that based on this screenshot, welcome, there are multiple tasks which has been assigned. But there was a confusion like when these tasks needs to be performed. So now what Oracle has done, they have given a step name, like when exactly this step needs to be performed. Like if you are hiring an employee, you see that it's before first date. Like this step needs to be completed before an employee has been onboarded and he has joined the company. Likewise, there's a there's an there's a task called complete your I-9 verification. So that needs to be done or completed on the first day. So this helps employees and managers and team to check when exactly this task needs to be completed and when it is supposed to be taken care of. Next in line, we have journeys trigger automatically for individual compensation event. Say, for example, in your company, you may have like multiple options like car loan and employees allowing for car loan or some personal loans or some work annuities are there. And you, as a company, you may gift something or some options are there. So now Oracle has provided a feature that these journeys can be assigned to the respected team or to the task owners automatically upon upon an event. Say for example, here if you see that this employee is trying for car allowance, so if an employee is getting eligible for this car allowance journey will automatically be assigned to the respective task owners. Next in line, we have additional application tasks when configuring journey templates. So when HC team like human capital team or a specialist or manager is creating a new journey, initially when they used to take application tasks, they used to have very less amount of seeded options like additional person info. So based on the task owner who is going to perform the task, based on that, if a journey creator will take name as application task, they will receive these options like addition person information, assignments to end, and this will only be to the task worker who's going to work, like if it's a worker. Say for example, if there's a line manager who needs to take or who needs to perform some task. So based on that, they have enhanced and given more options for in order to take the actions like change assignments, change legal employer, likewise. Going forward, additional seeded journeys. Oracle has provided quite a few additional seeded journeys like onboarding, offboarding, such like there are n number of seeded journeys. In order to keep and enhance the journey feature, Oracle has provided three new seeded journeys, namely Oracle Employee Recognition Rewards, Oracle Employee Spot Bonus Awards, and Oracle Employee Work Anniversary. So, say for example, what would happen like a company may have a policy that on a work anniversary they may send some token of appreciation to that employee. So now this way a seeded journey can help them, and also these seeded journeys can be modified as per the business requirements. So like if a company has some specific task that needs to be added, so the human capital management or managers can go ahead and add it and modify it as per their business requirement. The next feature is function security changes for Explore and Activity Journey. Here, here with the help of some security privileges, HC team can control to which these tabs will be available, whether employees will be able to just see Explore tab or they will be only able to see Activity tab, or depending on their managerial role or depending on their role in the company, both will be available to them. So this gives more control to the team, to the human capital team, in order to which options is available for respected employees. Prevent accidental remove of an assigned journey. This is a very good feature because this helps in gives more control to the task owners. Like for example, initially what used to happen, like say for example, a journey, an employee or HC team who is taking action or editing a journey. Initially, what used to happen, if they click on this remove task, there is no warning is given. It goes ahead and directly removes this task from the journey, which was sometimes very troublesome. So in order to keep this in mind and cater this, uh, Oracle has given a warning box. Like if someone by mistakenly clicks on remove task, this pop-up will give them a decision taking capability whether they actually want to remove this task or not. So if by mistake someone has gone ahead and clicked on it, they still have an option whether to control it and keep it intact. Deferred assignment date for journey task. Now here managers and HR specialists can create a journey and they can give a start date which is in future, like they'll be creating now, but they can go ahead and give a deferred date like in future that they want it to be available. So if these kind of journeys are given or assigned to some of the employees or managers or task owner, they will be able to see like when this journey is going to start. So this way, like employees or the task owners knows that since when or from which date they need to take any action. Contact info details in an assigned journey task. Initially, what used to happen is like, say, for an example, a human capital specialist has gone ahead and created a journey, okay, and he has added few task owners into that journey. But what used to happen, like the task owners are not aware, like what type of actions they used to take or what should they do with this journey, and they have to assume and they have to search and like who should be able to give them the right information regarding the task assigned to them. Now, in order to keep this thing flexible and more evident, what has happened, like Oracle has provided the contact info of the initiator or the person who has created the journey. This way, a task performer or the task owner will know, okay, this task, if I need to do, and if I need any guidance or anything, what needs to be taken care or how this task needs to be performed, they can directly go ahead and contact this person and get the required information. And based on the information gathered, they can perform the task. I-9 verification status journey task. Now, in many organizations and companies, we have I-9 verification. Okay. Now, this I-9 document, initially, there is no status. So based on the status, like mark as not applicable, add to calendar, and upload a document of records. Initially, these actions were not available over there. But now, if this task is assigned to someone, based on these action tabs, they can go ahead and mark it in the task. And based on the status, they can take actions upon. Reassign, reopen, and send reminders for multiple journey tasks. Here, what used to happen is like if a journey is reassigned, it has been assigned, employees or managers were not able to reassign them. But now the reassign option has been given, and the journeys can be reassigned, like multiple journeys can be assigned at once. And these are the options like which can be taken like incomplete and completed and incomplete task. Modified user experience for journey task. Now, initially, the journey task was like a little bit dull, but now journey task or the user experience, keeping in mind user experience, they have modified the look and feel of the journey page. Here, if you see that, here if you see that, this is now they have given a tab arrow where if you click on that, it will elaborate or extend or expand the journey task that needs to be taken care. So in this way, this caret option will give them a more upmarket feeling. Provide task assignment date for library tasks. Okay, you can choose a date from assign date field. Okay, on page one, adding a library task to an journey earlier date. So now, if a journey task or library task has to be added, but it it's not required now, but in maybe in an earlier date or maybe upcoming date. So that date can be set over here, so that you can create the task now, but it can only trigger once that date comes. Edit assigned task. Initially, what used to happen, like if a journey has been created, then the journey will not be, you would not be able to edit that. But now Oracle has provided a edit options. Like these are the options like which we can which we can go ahead and edit even after the journey has been assigned to employees or the task owners. Like we can they can go ahead and change the actual start date, actual end date, sequence, and likewise this is the list where they, these things can be edited even if the journey has been assigned to several employees. Processing mode in checklist template defaults to alert based on notification. So in this 2020 release, this processing mode has been defaulted to alert based notification. Like there are other options where we can go ahead and choose that, but what used to happen, like the processing mode was not defaulted, and the journey owners or the journey creator tends to forget how the alerts should go. So Oracle has gone ahead and made the alert based notification as default. So even if a journey creator has forget to add anything over here, some alert notifications will be defaulted, and any actions taken on the journey, alerts will be sent to the respective task owners. Deferred batch displayed on journey card. Here, what used to happen, say for example, an employee has been assigned multiple journeys, okay, and initially what used to happen, employees were not able to segregate whether this journey is applicable at now, whether they have to take this action now, unless they go ahead and open that journey and check. But now a deferred badge has been assigned over here, which means that this which this task or this journey is still to come and still to become active. Like it's a future dated journey. So by seeing the journey, the task owner will get to know whether they have to take any actions now or it's still yet to be activated. Employment assignment category attributes available in V3 seniority. Now, in order to keep the seniority dates in mind, Oracle has provided more attributes. Now, based on the assignment category, the seniority can be decided, and based on that, we can put the conditions to this seniority date. In continuation to this, the default values for cumulative option and worker type when creating V3 seniority. This is the same in continuation to our previous slide. The cumulative option and the worker type has been defaulted. Earlier, these were not defaulted. Now the cumulative option is no, and the worker type has been set to employee, so that when employees or managers or HC team can go ahead and they're going to set the seniority date based on these rules, the seniority date will be applicable. Next is document of records. Flexibility to view document of records before publish date. Initially, what used to happen is like, say for example, some document of records has been created, but these document of records are not applicable now. They are for future dates. But there were no capability or there is no functionality to see which ones are current active or which ones will be active in near future. So now Oracle has provided provided a list of values or an option called future published, wherein they can hide or show any document of record which are published for with a future date. So this way, the employees or managers will not get confused whether this document of record is active now or not. Mass download document of records and attachments. This is one of the very good feature which has been released in this session or in this release. That, say for example, human capital team has to download records of employees, like document of records for all the employees, and based on the person or the document type, they can go ahead and download all the required uh, document of records all together. Like this, they just have to run, check all these, and then they can go ahead and download all of them. This way, all the required documents along with the person name and details will be downloaded in a zip folder, and human capital specialist can go ahead and review it. Document records support for multiple line display and entry in document records text attributes. Initially, what used to happen in document of records is that if a comment box has been given, it cannot be expanded. We just need to type on, go ahead and typing on, and it will be on the same line. But now Oracle has provided us to extend, like we can just drag and drop till the maximum, and then we can read it all together, or we can write. So this helps in order to view in a single view what has been written or what we have written. Like we don't have to like scroll every time. So this is a very good feature introduced by Oracle. Document code displayed on document records this page. Initially, what used to happen is like when a document of record or document has been assigned and updated, this document code is not visible. So what used to happen, like say for example, if there are some issues and something needs to be checked, this document of code, we have to go ahead and set up a maintenance and then check what is the document code. But now Oracle has provided this feature over here. What we just need to do is just need to click on this create down arrow. Once we click on it, it will show more information along with the code so that we know that this is the document code and we can provide it to anyone else. Enhanced document type security profile. Oracle has enhanced document type security profile more in order to include and exclude criteria when configuring document type security profile. This will help for the implementation team or the support team or even for human capital specialists in order to decide who should be able to view a document of record or who should not be able to see. So we are done with the quick wins default with no configurations. Let's go ahead and move with quick wins default with configuration. Journey assign a journey to multiple person as a single activity. This is also one of a very good feature. This saves a lot of time for the human capital specialist or the managers or anyone who's creating a journey. Initially, what used to happen is like if a human capital specialist or manager or anyone who's creating and assigning a journey, they used to assign a journey one by one to each employee. But now But now Oracle has provided a feature or a capability to human capital management that they can go ahead and directly assign to multiple persons. They can select multiple persons, then assign it to them. Monitor journey assignment result on an activity. So as we have just discussed that Oracle has given a capability for journey creator or human capital specialist that they can go ahead and assign a journey to multiple employees. Okay, so just to enhance that capability, same thing like if a journey has been assigned to multiple employees, human capital specialist can check the status for that in a single page, like who has taken any action. Like if you see that this journey has been assigned to 316 assignees and it is still pending. So if a human capital management will select this and click on this activity tab, they will be brought towards this page where they can see who has taken or who has completed this task and with whom it is pending. So if required, they can contact that employee or the task owners and they can ask them to complete the task. Make attachments mandatory for journey task completion. Initially, what used to happen is like uh, a journey owner or journey creator is creating tasks and they are asking for task owners to perform or put some comments. But this most of the time the task owner tends to forget and they just go ahead and approve and take the required action and they forget to add any comments. But now with the help of this feature, they can make uh, they can make the attachments mandatory if so that if a attachment is required and if a task owner has forget to attach a document, then they will receive an error message and they will get an error message stating that you need to add an attachment for this task. Unless and until they will attach a attach an attachment over this, they will not be able to complete this task. Now, enable password verification in a native e-signature journey. Here, Oracle has given capability where some e-signatures can be assigned, they can be given based on the validation pattern set by the Oracle, and based on these e-signatures, upon given the signatures, based on that, once it is validated, then only the journey can be complete. Workforce structure: associate business unit with a legal employer. Now, what used to happen is like initially the the associated business unit is not a- associated with the legal employer. Now, Oracle has provided associated business unit extensible flex field context where it will give uh, the human capital specialist to manage the legal entity information. Based on that, they can associate business unit to a legal employer. This gives more enhanced capability to the human capital specialist. Associate legal employers with a location. Now, what used to happen is like initially legal employers uh, are just based on the legal employer's location, but now we can associate legal employers with a location. This way, locations can be filtered based on the legal employers, or we can know like which location or which legal employers are working at which location. This will give more flexibility and more capabilities to filtering the locations, and human capital or the management can decide like where which location which legal employee is working. Workforce structure: ability to identify a location as an employee location. Now, when we in current setup, what used to happen is like when we create a new location, it does not give whether this location will be used or will be used for employee or not. Okay, so it a location will be created as a generic location. It will be used anywhere, but it doesn't have that filtration point where whether it is used for employee location or not. But now this option has been given by Oracle. When we set up a location, we have a capability to select whether this is an employee location or not. This will give us a leverage in order to locate and filter a list of locations which are being used subsequently. Workflow structure: country pre-selected while creating a location. While we creating a location, initially what used to happen is like there were no countries default selected. Okay, now the default country which was selected is United States. Now, with the help of this Manage Enterprise HCM information page, this country can be defaulted or pre-selected based on the preference. Say, for an example, a company is working in United UK or maybe in India, or so based on these criteria, they can pre-select a country so that every time a required or the country can be always there. So this would create a less efforts and in order to select the required country as it's already there. Automatic generation of job code. Now, as you may be aware that when we create a job, a new job in workforce structure, we used to give a job code manually. But now Oracle has provided an initial job code or a job code generation method. Like this way, system will go ahead and create a job code for you automatically. So there are some options like the manual is always there. Like if you wish that you want to set a job code for a job, a new job, then you're most welcome. Otherwise, you can let this task to be done by the system. There are two options like automatic prior to submission or automatic upon final save. So based on these options, the job code will be created. Person list of countries for worker disability. Self-disclosure is now extensible. Um, Oracle has provided us a new lookup type called Aura per disability country. Now, if your company is giving or has some 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 capabilities or some features or some options where the disability is considered. So this way, Oracle has listed the work disability. Based on that, employee can go ahead and select in which country they are being termed as disabled or disability for that country. And upon that, they can select and give the list of countries. Improve security of change photo quick action. Now, in order to create a security for photo options wherein initially what used to happen like anyone can go ahead and select apart from employee for human capital management can select, but now they have given this option wherein the selected person can only go ahead and see the photo quick action. So the managed person image and the managed person image by HR, this way they can only, if we get managed person image, then only the human capital management can see. But if we see that management managed person image, then only the employee will be able to take any actions on this photo option. Enhancement to the change personal information approval rule. Initially, when we used to create approval rule, there are for specific to any to change personal information, there are multiple options like for which an employee can go ahead and make the changes. But based on these changes, Oracle has gone ahead and enhanced the approval rule based on the options available for change personal information. So, for example, an employee wants to change a contact information or change contact. So based on that specific request, we can set an approval rule so that any action which an employee is taking in their personal information, it goes for an approval. So here we are done. Here we are done with the quick wins default with configuration. Let's move on with quick win opt-ins. Journey seeded journeys. As part of Journey, Oracle is enhancing and giving more seeded journeys so that companies and organizations can utilize them in as per their business requirement. The best part of these seeded journeys is that you can modify them as per as per your business requirements. So it's not like that you if it's a seeded journey, you just have to use it the way it is. you can edit it, you can modify it as per your business requirements. Make comments mandatory for journey task completion. So as we have discussed earlier, that attachments are being made mandatory in the journey feature. In the same way, the comments has been made mandatory in the journey feature. Say, for example, and a journey owner or journey creator wants some comments to be made mandatory that without adding a comment, a task owner cannot complete the task, then the system would give an error message that stating that you need to add a comment for this task. So unless and until a task owner will add a comment in it, they will not be able to complete this task. They have to add a comment to it. Compact guided process for employment start date. Now, initially, this feature has been introduced newly. Like Oracle has provided an employment start date feature wherein you can access an employee and you can go ahead and change the start date of a terminated employee, or even you can append the dates of uh, proposed start date of a pending workers. So this is a new page which has been designed and released by Oracle, wherein we can take full control of the start date of any worker, any terminated employee, or any pending worker. This is a very dedicated page. Additional filter using legal employer for client side location. So when there is a location, we can select like which country and which legal employer is there. Based on that, these locations can be available to see. So this filter was not there at that initially. Now they have added an additional filter using the legal employer for that purpose. Filter client-side business unit, LOV using legal employer. Now, say for example, if an employee employment details is there and they have to see that he is on a client-side location and he is somewhere out there, so they can, based on that, they can select that which business unit an employee is as of now or where he is working for now. So gives a this gives more user filtering business unit displaying according to the legal employer. Based on the legal employer, they can go ahead and see where these employees are or which business unit they are working. Position synchronization, default manager based on profile options. Here, what used to happen is like, uh, say for example, for a position, there is a position which has multiple incumbents, and now initially what used to happen, this is there's no segregation like which manager or which employee is there since when. Now what has happened is like a default configuration. Supervisor using selected tenure option with position incumbent. Based on this option, like if well, we can select like this is a default like longest tenure in the assignment. Like if an employee is on an assignment, who is at the longest will show on job. And if we want, we can select other options like longest tenure in the position, longest tenure in the enterprise, shortest tenure in the position, shortest tenure in the enterprise. So based on these, we can go ahead and choose the options. Employment ability to disable manager defaulting in add person and create work relationship flows. We cannot disable defaulting to a line manager. What used to happen is like a line manager is defaulted based on the employee who is logged in and who is creating. So this way may happens like some wrong managers are selected. So now we can enable and disable manage defaulting in this responsive flow. Like if we want, we can default hire an employee. Like it will when we'll be hiring an employee, the employer will the manager will be defaulted. add a contingent worker, or add a pending worker, or add non-worker. So based on these options, we can manage how managers can be defaulted. Now we'll go ahead with the rest features. Approval support for location responsive pages. You can now set up approvals for these location responsive processes. Create location, duplicate location is included in this flow. For that, create location, edit location, and delete dates. Now, if you see that, these rules can be created. Like if you would like, you can create a location, delete an effective location, and edit a location. Based on that, the approval rules will go ahead and you can select and create a condition and the approvals will go ahead. So for example, you want to create a location, and a team is creating a location and you want that if a location is created, then it should go for an approval. So in that manner, you can set an approval for this option. And accordingly, these are the like if an HA team is deleting a location, then also you can set an approval rule. So this helps like with the the respective parties in an organization are aware whether a location is created or there is a change in a location or a location has been deleted. Approvals and location. Now, if you see that new options has been given, like test approvals, like if you are creating a test approval managed document, you can see whether the status, whether it is there, and based on that, you can simulate whether this approval is going fine or not. So this helps in order to check whether the approval flow is based on the right direction. So this is related to Oracle reporting tool, wherein like HCM integration subject areas has been updated with new attributes and metrics related to reporting, remove person information, and HCM data loader. Here, if you can see that there are new attribute has been added like template status, total process time, and based on this, the technical team or the reporting team can create their own subject areas, and based on these subject areas, they can create multiple reports. Historical data enhancement in workforce trend subject area. A new folder named workforce trend details is added. Now this workforce trend details folder will help will have new attributes, and this will help reporting team go ahead and create and manage the workforce management based on the trend real-time subject area. New attributes in there are new attributes has been created in department dimension, and the named is title. New matrix in checklist subject area. In the checklist subject area, a new matrix has been added, like count of questionnaire, count of questions, and count of responses. Like based on this, a new checklist has been created, and uh, some questionnaires has been added. So they Oracle team, the reporting team can check whether the how many questionnaires are there, how many questions are there, and how many responses has been received. Now, as we have only 5 minutes, uh, I would just like to give the option open for question and answer. Any question, guys?
Hello, everyone. So, Hitendra, we've got a question and from Mr. Jason, and we'll be taking that up separately because we will have to bit of a deep dive into it, and we'll have to get back to Jason. So we'll take care of at a later date.
Okay.
We've forwarded already to the respective person to take care on this immediately. It was taken care.
Great. That's great.
And nope, we don't have any other questions at the moment.
Okay.
Just quickly, we'd like to tell you that we'll be also sending you the presentation, entire presentation to you, along with the feedback on how was this session today. And also we'll be sending you the test scripts if relevant. and would just quickly like to know that your area of interest so that we can deliver the much more value-based webinars going forward for the upcoming series. So we'd like to know with the quick poll that what is your area of interest, whether it's managed services, innovations, technologies, chatbot, RPA, AI, VBA, data masking, cloud transformation. If you're an existing client, you can also discuss the same with the project manager as well, if any of this is of your interest. I have not covered all these clients which we expected due to the large volume, but we'll make sure that each of you get this via an email, so you'll be able to go through it. So we're getting a good number of polls. We'll be closing the poll in the next 5 to 10 seconds. Thank you, everybody. We'll close the poll. Yeah, and if you can just lastly tell us how we did today. How was the overall experience? If you can just rate us quickly, it'd be great help. We're closing the poll, and just to let you know again that we will be definitely sending you the presentation recording along with the test scripts and thank you email along with the feedback as well, which you can provide us any suggestions which in order for us to improve for the upcoming sessions. And if any of your colleague wants to join us for the upcoming webinars, the invitation links are already out there. You can ask them to register and they can be part of it for all the upcoming webinars. So if you have any questions, if you are a non-Evosys customer, and if you need to know anything about these services, you can also write to us on business@evosysglobal.com about any additional services. If you are an existing client, you can also reach out to the project manager for any concerns or services or any feedback. Thank you, everybody. Thank you once again for your valuable time. We'll end today's session.